Hello everyone, welcome to IPM IAS Academy's daily news highlights. So today is 30th of July 2024. Let us try to understand what are the important news for today's discussion. Supreme Court refuses to stay High Court ruling quashing 65% quota in Bihar. This news is important. Why? Because it talks about our judiciary, Supreme Court and High Court. And it also talks about the 65% quota in Bihar. Basically, it is something connected with the constitution also. The Supreme Court on Monday refused to order interim stay of a Patna High Court decision quashing reservation up to 65% for backward classes, extremely backward classes, the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in public employment and institutions. So here the point is Bihar government has introduced the reservation system in which 65% reservation will be given for backward classes, extremely backward classes, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe in public employment and institution. So this particular decision was actually quashed by the High Court of Patna. So the same thing, when it actually came for the Supreme Court's hearing, they refused to order the interim stay. And now let us try to understand why the High Court has actually quashed this particular quota. On 20th of June, the High Court has concluded that stretching quota from 50% to 65% in government jobs and educational institutions, leaving only 35% for the merit, was violative of the right to equal opportunity for citizens. Very important to understand this because it is enshrined in our constitution. It is mentioned in our constitution in Article 14 to Article 18, that is right to equality. So when you are increasing the percentage of quota from 50% to 65%, that is actually violating the right of equal opportunity for citizens. The High Court had set aside the Bihar reservation of vacancies in post and services for scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes Amendment Act 2023 and Bihar in admission in educational institution reservation Amendment Act 2023 as ultra vires the constitution and violative of equality of clause under Article 14, 15, 16 of the constitution. Basically, these two important acts were against the constitutional provisions, especially Article 14, 15 and 16, the right to equality. So this article you need to read it, and when you are reading, try to understand about what is right to equality, Article 14 to Article 18, that is one thing. Another thing is wherever they are mentioning about reservation, the articles especially for 14, 15 and 16, do read about it, very important, and why this High Court ruling has come and how it is actually affecting the fundamental rights, why Supreme Court has taken a decision like that, because we all know that Supreme Court is the guardian of our fundamental rights. So if something is going against the fundamental rights of the citizens, definitely Supreme Court will interfere and take necessary action. So same case with High Court also. So read this article. This is actually coming in page number 1, General Studies 2, Indian Polity. Maduro declared winner of disputed Venezuela polls. So in the last 2 days we were discussing about the Venezuela elections, the presidential elections, and here Nicolas Maduro was declared the winner of Venezuela's presidential election on Sunday. But the opposition and the key regional neighbors immediately rejected the official results. So the announcement is Nicolas Maduro become the president of Venezuela. He won re-election with 51.2% of votes, while opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia received 44.2% according to the Electoral Council. Okay, very important to understand this. He actually got more than 50% of the votes. I can say before the people of Venezuela and the world, I am Nicolas Maduro Moros, the re-elected president of Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. There will be peace, stability, justice, peace and respect for the law. So this was his statement after he won the elections. So here you can see the map of Venezuela. So here is the map of Venezuela. Let's see what are the important neighboring countries of Venezuela. So Colombia is here. You can see Brazil here. You can see Guyana here. So all these are actually the neighboring countries, and Venezuela is a South American or a Latin American country. So when the elections are going on, you can see that the whole world is looking at this election. Why? Because Venezuela has their own critics, their own opponents, and also they have their own supporters. Here, when it comes to the international arena, how this election result has impacted or influenced the other countries, or what was their opinion about this election. Let's see that. The Costa Rican president Rodrigo Chavez denounced the CNA result as fraudulent, while Chile's president called it hard to believe. Peru announced it recalled its ambassador over the result. So these three nations, you can see that they mainly belong to the Latin American region. Then the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken expressed serious concerns that the results did not reflect the will of the Venezuelans. So on the other hand, the Venezuela has also certain supporters in the international system, and they are China, Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Honduras, Bolivia. However, congratulated Mr. Maduro. Cuban president congratulated Maduro for his historic electoral triumph achievement. So read about this article, try to understand the location of Venezuela, what is the importance of Venezuela in the present international system, what is the ideology that they are actually following. So all these things you need to have an idea, and why these countries are actually opposing the election, and why some of the countries are supporting the election, mainly because of their political inclination. Okay, read this article. Page number 1, General Studies 2, International Relations. Quad calls for end to violence in Ukraine, Gaza and Myanmar. So these are the hot topics in the present international system. Ukraine, Russia war, then the issues that are going on in Palestine and Israel, that is the Gaza issue. Then Myanmar, the internal crisis that is actually going on in Myanmar. So all these were the major points of discussion. They also emphasized on ending the violence in these three key areas. Foreign ministers of India, US, Australia and Japan, so these are the member countries of Quad, India, US, Australia and Japan, announced plans to expand IPMDA to Indian Ocean region, emphasize the importance of maintaining freedom of navigation and overflight and unimpeded commerce consistent with law. So here, what do you mean by this IPMDA? IPMDA means Indo-Pacific Partnership for Maritime Domain Awareness. Indo-Pacific Partnership for Maritime Domain Awareness. Okay, so the quadrilateral group of Australia, India, Japan and the US intends to expand the Indo-Pacific Partnership for Maritime Domain Awareness into the Indian Ocean region. The foreign ministers of the 4 member countries announced in Tokyo on Monday. So where are they right now? They are in Japan, that is in Tokyo. Addressing the meeting, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said the 4 Quad countries are democracies that are working as a powerful stabilizing factor. The ministers also called the immediate cessation of violence in Ukraine, Gaza and Myanmar. So when they are discussing these issues in the Quad meeting, you should also have an idea about what are all these issues. We know that the Ukraine issue is going on for more than years, and then Gaza issue, that is a historical ongoing issue which is between Israel and Palestine. Myanmar is always seen as a country with instability. You can see that sometimes the democracy prevails there and sometimes the military prevails there. So this is actually changing, and that actually makes the country's administration more chaotic and more confusing. And in the meeting, our External Affairs Minister also mentioned Quad as an action-oriented platform that is aimed at practical outcomes. Our HADR, Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief conversations are reflected in understanding and SOPs between our Navy. So Quad is an organization which has its implications in various areas, in various domains actually. Indicating the global agenda of the Quad Club, the foreign minister said they have great interest in ensuring peace and stability in the Middle East. So they may be sitting at one corner of the world. They are discussing about the problems in other countries. They want to give a solution to the problems that are going on in the country. So all these points you need to have an idea. Then what about the present situation, that is the aid to Gaza? The foreign minister said there is an urgent need to significantly increase the deliveries of life-saving humanitarian assistance throughout the Gaza and highlighted the crucial need to prevent regional escalation. We urge all parties to comply with international law, including international humanitarian law applicable. We welcome UNSC resolution and strongly urge all parties concerned to work immediately and steadily toward the release of all hostages and an immediate ceasefire. So basically their objective is peace and stability in the region. So in order to maintain peace and stability in the region, you need to follow the international laws. So when you are working in alignment with the international law, then you can reduce the conflicts, you can reduce the war tendencies in these regions, so that you can establish peace and security in the region. On the other hand, you should also have a very clear idea about what is Quad, what is the objective of Quad, who are the member countries of Quad, and why this Quad actually formed. And they also have another important concern, that is the growing influence of China. China factor is always a threat for these Quad countries. So why they are considering China as a threat? All these points you need to have an idea. So read about Quad and make your own notes regarding that. This is coming in page number 4, General Studies 2 and Indian Politics. Defense Acquisition Council approves amendment to MQ9B UAV deal with US. Okay, it's a very important news because we are talking about something called as Defense Acquisition Council. So you need to know what is this Defense Acquisition Council. Defense Acquisition Council is the highest decision-making body in the Defense Ministry for deciding on new policies and capital acquisitions for the three services: Army, Navy and Air Force and the Indian Coast Guard. The Defense Acquisition Council is headed by the Defense Minister. The decision of Raksha Mantri on Defense Acquisition Council deliberations flows down from implementation to Defense Procurement Board, Defense Production Board and Defense R&D Board. So Defense Acquisition Council is a key organ or a key body in the decision making process related to Army, Navy and Air Force and Coast Guard. Okay, here what they are actually talking about. The Defense Acquisition Council, chaired by Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, Monday reviewed and approved amendments to the deal for procuring 31 MQ9B high altitude long endurance unmanned aerial vehicles from General Atomics of the US defense sources. So they are the ones who actually decide whether we should go on with the deals or not. So that is what actually happened here. The DAC also gave approval to a proposal regarding the scheduled refit of aircraft carrier INS Vikramaditya later this year, sources said. So two important decisions are actually coming here. One is related to the 31 MQ9B high altitude unmanned aerial vehicle. The other one is related with the refit of INS Vikramaditya. In the context of this news, you need to have an idea about what is Defense Acquisition Council, who are the members of Defense Acquisition Council and how they are actually taking the decisions. And on what all matters they have already taken decision in the recent years. Read this article and take appropriate notes regarding the matters that they are actually discussing here. So here they are also mentioning that India is looking to procure 31 MQ9B UAVs, 15 Sea Guardians for the Indian Navy and 16 Sky Guardians, 8 each for the Indian Army and Air Force at an estimated cost of rupees $3.99 billion. As part of the deal, General Atomics is scheduled to establish a global maintenance, repair and overhaul MRO facility in India, which would count towards offset obligations. So many decisions are actually coming. Mostly strategic and military decisions are actually taken in the Defense Acquisition Council. So read this article and make your own notes regarding this. Supreme Court begins a week-long Lok Adalat drive. So here the question is, what do you mean by Lok Adalat? Okay, Lok Adalat is actually one of the alternative dispute redressal mechanism, and it is a forum where disputes or cases pending in the court of law or at pre-litigation stage are settled and compromised amicably. Lok Adalats have been given statutory status under the Legal Services Authorities Act 1987, and under the said act, the award or the decision made by the Lok Adalat is deemed to be a decree of a civil court and is final and binding on all parties, and no appeal against such an award lies before any court of law. So this is about the Lok Adalat. Basically, we know that in our judicial system there are a lot of pending cases, and in order to resolve these pending cases, they are actually taking this decision. It's an alternate dispute redressal mechanism. So here the Supreme Court on Monday commenced its week-long special Lok Adalat drive to amicably settle long pending disputes. So that is the objective here. In order to settle the long pending disputes, they are coming up with the Lok Adalat, and it's a part of their 75th anniversary celebrations. The first 7 benches of the court transformed into Lok Adalats at 2 p.m. with Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud heading a 5-member bench. So basically, the Supreme Court is commencing its special Lok Adalat drive to give a solution to the long pending disputes which are pending in the court. Okay, so this news is coming in page number 4, General Studies 2, Indian Polity. So in the context of this news, read more about Lok Adalat and how they are actually conducted, and what is the general procedure regarding conducting the Lok Adalats. All these things you need to have an idea, and also read about alternate dispute redressal mechanism. Widening conflict. As long as the Gaza war drags on, peace will be elusive in West Asia. So when these war goes on, when this conflict goes on, you won't be able to find peace and stability in the region. So here you can see the area, okay, the map regarding the Palestine-Israel crisis. So here comes the Gaza. This is the Gaza area. Here is the West Bank area. Okay, so these territories we can see that mostly coming under the Palestinian authorities or Palestinian influence. So here on this part you can see Israel. All these places are actually under the control of Israel, and here you can see Golan Heights. Okay, all these places are disputed regions. So near to Golan Heights, Syria is there. So near to Israel you can see Jordan, and here on this part also you will be able to see Egypt, and on the other part you can see Mediterranean Sea. So this is how the geography of Israel and Palestine is like. So the problems are going on in Gaza Strip, West Bank and Golan Heights. Okay, so how do we solve this issue? Already we saw that the Quad countries are trying to initiate their own procedures regarding resolving this issue. United Nations already come up with certain solutions for this issue, but still it is actually continuing. So when it is continuing, the problem is like the peace and security in the region is delayed. So here another important development is the other countries are also coming into picture. So the last day's news we discussed that Israel is criticizing the Iran's influence in this region. So how Iran is actually influencing? Iran is influencing, supporting the Hezbollah, and Iran is also supporting them with funding and all those aspects. So basically this region is coming into a complete confusion and chaos. So this whole article is actually talking about that. So read this article, try to get an idea about it. So we are living in an international system. So the main problem with the system is, if something is happening or some damages is happening in any part of the system, that will eventually affect the entire system. Okay, we are living in a globalized era where we all are interconnected through technical level, military level, economic level, social level, political level. In all these areas we are interconnected. So if some damages or if some problems are going on in any part of the world, that will eventually affect the other areas also. So it is our own responsibility, or it is the responsibility of the world to find a solution for the ongoing crisis in different parts of the world, and one such crucial crisis is the Palestine-Israel issue. So read this article, it is coming in page number 8, General Studies 2, International Relations. The problem with India's blocking of Chinese. So this article is mainly discussing about the lack of skills among the Indians, and why the demand for Chinese laborers are actually increasing in our country. The article also addresses that what is the real cause of this problem. So education, they are trying to find out the solution, that is education is one of the problem that is actually creating this issue, this the gap in the skill. Okay, so in the last budget we could see that the government is giving more importance and prominence to the skilling and learning for the youth. Okay, through these skill development programs they are trying to generate more employment also, right? The Indian authorities have promised more visas to Chinese technicians whose help Indian businesses urgently need. Rajesh Kumar Singh, Secretary, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, recently accepted claims by the Indian companies that a significant skill gap exists between Chinese and Indian factory supervisors and workers. So when they are actually talking about it, they say that the productivity of the Chinese supervisors is more compared to the Indian supervisors. But there are problems going on between India and China. So in the border regions, we are having our own problems. On a political level also, we have our own conflict of interest. All these are actually affecting the entry of Chinese to India. So, but what we should learn from this actually. So on the one hand, you could see that security is an important area, national interest is an important area, the power dynamics is an important area. So when you are considering all these things, we need to have some distance with the China. We need to take our own actions against the Chinese interventions in various areas. So that is there on one hand, but on the other hand, you should also learn from the foreign knowledge. You should also learn from the experience of others, because that is what the Chinese has already done in the past 40 years. They were trying to learn things, and that learning actually made them more productive and more demanding in the present international scenario. The integrating foreign knowledge. East Asian economic history teaches us that foreign knowledge is pivotal but spurs development only when combined with adequately educated domestic workers. Weak Indian education makes foreign expertise especially urgent. So here they are mentioning about the weak education system, the education system that is not able to create skilled laborers or skilled workers. In the 1980s, the Korean businesses brought foreign machines to dismantle and reverse engineer them. By then, the Korea had nearly 3 decades of a solid educational foundation and needed minimal human assistance. They sourced foreign knowledge as was embedded in machines. So they actually supported, or they took the support of the foreign machines. So we know that China is the world's global manufacturing hub, and how they have attained that particular place. They attained that place because during the time of Deng Xiaoping, he actually sent their people to other countries to gain knowledge, to learn from them, okay, and to implement that in their own country. In each and every point they are raising in this particular article, eventually that is leading to the education system, the importance of education system in imparting skills among the students. So what is the reality in India? In the reality of India after COVID-19, we could see that there is a drop in the employment generation. Even students who have got degree from IITs, they are struggling to get a job. So that is the situation of India. So how can we solve this issue? We need to improve our skills. When we are improving our skills, we will get demand from our domestic market and also from the international market. So read this article so that you will get a different perspective about the skill development in our country, and you will get a different perspective about the importance of learning from foreign experts, and also from the perspective of Chinese, what is the relevance of admitting them to India and learning from them. So all those points are mentioned in this article. So read this article and try to understand about the present situation or the present relationship between India and China. This article is coming in page number 8, General Studies 3 and Indian Economy. So it can be a part of Indian international relations also, and it is also a part of human resource development. In many areas, we will be able to relate this particular article. Okay, an important announcement regarding the guided PCM course 2025. Okay, we have prelims and mains coaching for the 2025 aspirants. So these are the features: recorded classes for all GS studies, then experienced faculty guidance will be there, current affairs sessions, psychological well-being sessions, expert sessions by civil service officers, goal setting sessions, CSAT prelims and main sessions. Okay, these are all very important for the examination, and it is ideal for students, working professionals and passionate IAS aspirants. And the program is actually available for 6 months and also for 1 year. If you think you are well equipped to study, or you have already had a preparation journey and you are well equipped with the knowledge, then 6 months is more than enough for you. But for a person who is a beginner, then definitely you should go with the 1 year program. And if you want to take this program, what you need to do is download IPM IAS application and also take a scholarship test. You can directly purchase the program from the application, but we do not advise that. We advise you to take the scholarship test, and the scholarship test is there in the description. So click on the link and take the scholarship test, so that you will get some reduction in your fee based on the marks you are actually getting in the examination. So that's about today's news. I hope this video was useful for you. So what you need to do is, please do share, like and subscribe our channel. If you have not yet subscribed our channel, please do subscribe the channel, and so that you will get more inputs and updates regarding civil service preparation, motivation and also current affairs. Thank you so much.